Hi, I'm Jonathan Pierre, and welcome to Know Your Neighbor. We interview a lot of college students and any type of students from different ethnic groups to become familiar and comfortable with the culture around the world. Today, our guest is going to be Edgar Aquino, born in Mexico and raised in America, and John Garcia from the Philippines. We may not draw connections between Mexico and the Philippines, but they do share historical connections that date back to the 1500s. In 1521, Spain conquered the Aztecs and created the colony in Mexico called New Spain. It continued to spread out through the southern and central Mexico. After decades of failed attempts, Spain successfully conquered territory in the Philippines in 1565. For the next 2.5 centuries, trade in the Spanish-conquered Mexico and the Philippines flourished in what we call now the Manila Galleon trade. Food is like one of my favorite things. And today we're going to learn more about food in our cooking segment with Darian and John.
As promised, we are here in the kitchen ready to make a Filipino dish. John, what are we making?
You know, what we're making is champurrado, which essentially is chocolate rice pudding. And it's really easy to make, and that's why we're making it.
What do we need?
What we need is some rice, some sugar, some evaporated milk and condensed milk, and some cocoa and water. That is what we need.
Sounds good. I am excited. So,
Oh yeah, and salt.
and salt. I'm excited. So let's start. I have a cup and a half of rice, and I have 4 cups of water.
So first thing we do, we have to wash the rice, right? You wash it until it's like clean, right? And then once you wash it, you dump the water out, and then we toss it into the pan. No, alright, so you just toss in the water and the rice in the pan, and then you turn it on.
So the water doesn't need to boil first.
No, the water does not need to boil first.
I'm thinking about making pasta. That's all I know how to make.
And we toss in the 4 cups of water. Right? And then we just have to wait.
We're back, so let's fill them in on what we've been up to.
So we came back, right? After tossing in the water and the rice, we just let it boil. In the middle of it, we toss in the cocoa. So now we have it looking like this, right? After tossing in the cocoa, you were supposed to mix it every 2 to 3 minutes for 20 to 30 minutes, depending on how long it takes to cook, right? And then we would just toss in the salt.
So mine was only 20 minutes. Yours is probably going to be a couple minutes more. But after that, what are we adding? Or what's the process?
So you just scoop how much you want in a bowl, right? You grab some evaporated milk. You toss in some sugar, just a little bit of sugar, and then you just mix it. And then if you want more sweetness to it, you toss in some condensed milk. Condensed milk is optional. And then you just mix it, and then you're pretty much good to go.
Okay, here goes. It's my first try.
That's nice.
Mmm.
Like hot cereal with rice. What do you know?
Well, I am actually enjoying this chocolate rice. I feel like I would make this again just for myself, just to eat. Thanks a lot, John.
You're welcome. Sorry, I was busy licking this condensed milk off the cap.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, thanks, John, for teaching us how to make chocolate rice.
Oh, you're welcome. Anytime.
Technology has brought people closer together than ever before, without even leaving their quarantine. Here's Spencer.
Hi everyone, it's Spencer. I am here with Edgar. And today on Know Your Neighbor, we're going to be talking about ethnicities. So, Edgar, why don't you introduce yourself and talk about your ethnicity and stuff like that?
Well, my name is Edgar Aquino Huerta. I was born in Mexico. I'm Hispanic, well, Mexican. My mom literally courageously carried me over here when I was about 2 years old. So this is the only country I know. I don't really know Mexico like that. Luckily, in 2012, former President Barack Obama passed the DREAM Act, which allowed me to get a work permit and a Social Security. So that pretty much gave me a taste of what it is to be an American.
Have you ever experienced any sort of misjudgment, or you like fell into one of those awful like stereotypes about Mexicans and Hispanics?
Well, there was this one incident when it was my first semester at Rowan. Like I said, I work at a farm, so sometimes when I don't have time to go home, I come straight to school from work. So I'm like dressed as a farm worker with like dirty clothes, a dirty flannel, and dirty boots. So I had to make my first tuition payment, and I went to the bursar's office, and usually there's a lady that attends me, but she wasn't there that day, so I was looking for my ID because the girl there, she didn't know me, and she asked me if I needed help, but I wasn't responding because I was looking for my ID, and so she was like, so then she asked another lady, she was like, does he need a translator?
Like immediately thought that you just didn't understand what they were saying.
Yeah, she probably like she thought that I was somebody else, and then like I stood quiet because I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what, like is she serious? Yeah. And then she was like telling me where the landscape people were. And then I started laughing. I was like, no, I'm here to pay my tuition.
So I know we just talked about like kind of like the downsides of stereotypes and how they're not that good. On the other side of that, have you seen a progression of like stereotypes getting better? Like maybe not as many people over the years saying too many like bad things. Have you noticed like a change over time?
I don't see things getting better, but I do. As far as our generation right now, I kind of do see our generation doing better things. Like, for example, next week, me and a couple friends are going to do a caravan. We're going to drive around different farms, so showing our support to immigrants working at farms that are not, they weren't giving like, the stimulus checks like we did. We're all going to chip in to donate money just so that maybe they can get like $50 each or something that'll help them out.
Before we go, do you have any like final words about everything we talked about? Anything you want to say to the audience?
I just want to say that like never judge a book by its cover, because you really never know what people are really going through, and just follow the changes. If you see somebody doing a good deed, try doing the same thing.
I completely agree. Well, thank you, Edgar. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Bye.
Now we go to the second interview, hosted by Darian.
Hello, I'm Darian Brown. I'm here with John Garcia. So John, you immigrated from the Philippines. How old were you at that time?
10 years old.
What do you remember about the experience?
Well, I remember hopping on the plane. It was a long flight. It was almost like a day. That was not fun because I remember almost throwing up and being jet lagged. And then once we got off, we ate some food, Jollibee. That was probably the last time I ate that. It was in New York. And then it was just a long drive home.
Did your whole family immigrate at once?
No, my dad came to the U.S. first.
What was the time difference on that?
He came here about like 25 to 30 years earlier than us. So, and then we just kind of followed, and then now we're all here in America.
If your dad lived in America already, how often did you see him?
I only saw him probably only the months of December and January of every year.
He basically set up the path for you and the rest of your family to come to America. Besides that, I'm wondering what kind of adjustment you guys went through, or you personally went through, coming to American schools and not knowing anybody? What was your experience with that?
I mean, I was pretty silent. I didn't really talk to people when I first came here. 'Cause like you said, I didn't know no one.
How much English did you know at the time?
I already knew English. Being enough English for a 10-year-old. And let's just say that. I don't know how you measure it, but I knew enough English where I could get by.
And I'm also curious about how connected or tied you feel to your background.
Pretty connected to it, I guess. Like, I don't really diverge away from my Filipino culture, even though I started coming here. And it was just adding in the American culture was just an add-on. But I don't think I was whitewashed or anything like that.
So at home, your parents and your family, do they tend to stick to your roots with food and language and stuff like that?
At home, I always get spoken to in Tagalog, which is our native language, and then rarely in English, honestly. All the foods that we eat are all Filipino.
When looking to get Filipino food in America, is it hard to find like the Asian markets or stores that sell actually ready-made Filipino food?
From what I've been told, in Jersey, that's hard to come by because it's just not something prominent that people would actually eat, or it's just maybe just not introduced to them. So South Jersey, it's hard to come by. There's probably more places for Filipino food, definitely North Jersey, but that's just how it is.
Thanks so much, John, for chatting.
Thank you.
Until next time, I'll see you soon.
Spencer is now being taught by Edgar how to do traditional Mexican dancing.
Hi everyone, it's Spencer again. I'm back with Edgar, and right now Edgar is going to teach me one of the Spanish dances that he knows, right?
Yeah.
Describe us what you're teaching us, Edgar.
This is like the Mexican version of Achy Breaky Heart.
Awesome, I'm excited. I have what seems to be, I have the closest thing to dance clothes, so let's get started. I'm ready for this. What do you got?
Alright, so you're gonna start with your right side.
Okay.
You're gonna slide 2 times to the right. So like this.
Okay.
You slide it. Then you slide back to the left twice again, like that.
Okay, so right and left, got it.
Then back, like that. Then front, like that.
Pretty simple, got it so far.
And as you're moving to the front, you turn to your right, and then you do the same thing.
Oh, so it's like the Cupid Shuffle.
Yeah, and then again, 2 times to the right, 2 times to the left, 2 times back, then 2 times to the front, and then you turn again to your left, to your right. Pretty much like you turn 4 times. Like first you start here, then you end up here, then you end up here, then you end up here, and yeah, you burn a lot of calories when you do this.
Awesome, let's practice.
Yeah, and then that's exactly how we're supposed to start off. Like that.
This?
Yeah. So you start going like this. but you have to stomp your feet.
Oh.
Like you have to hear the boot.
Hey, I like it. Alright, count me in.
So as soon as the song starts, you move.
Okay.
Like that.
Oh, it's fast! Oh my
Yeah.
god! Am I on beat? I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah, everybody will be good for us. There you go. What are you doing?
Okay, wait a minute. We were going so slow, and then you're like, what? Okay. Okay. Now that I know what the actual pacing is, let's try it for real. I'm ready to actually do it for real.
So remember, you have to start like this.
I think it's my favorite part.
My family will ask them for them.
Okay, well now that I'm out of breath, I think that's the time for this segment. Thank you so much, Edgar, for teaching me this dance. I had a blast.
Yeah, are you sweating already?
Okay, I'm an easy sweater. I'm sorry. I'm wearing a sweatshirt. Well, thank you so much, Edgar. Talk soon.
Alright, talk to you soon.
Bye.
See you.
We definitely learned a lot. Now let's talk about everything that we learned so far.
So now that we're all here in one space, kind of, we're doing the best we can. I'm wondering if you guys have any stories or knowledge about how this virus is impacting your home countries.
From what little I know about the Philippines, they're really going on total lockdown, but like that's really hard to do since some people can't actually afford being on lockdown since they have families to feed and everything. And I'm pretty sure, I'm almost sure that Philippines has a corrupt government where they choose who to give money to pretty much keep alive, and that they're very serious with the total lockdown to a point where they're actually arresting people who try to go outside.
Oh my goodness.
That's crazy. What about you, Edgar? And do you know anything about Mexico?
Not really, but I know that my mom, she said that for the people from from the towns next to us that live in America, I think about 2 of them passed away, and their families are funding money to send their ashes from America to Mexico.
That's nice though that they're doing that, right?
Yeah. But as far as like a lockdown, I'm not sure if they're having like their towns stay at home. I'm not really sure because I also have a friend that lives close to the border, and he said that they haven't done any lockdowns, that they're still doing everything like normal.
On the Mexican side of the border?
Yeah, I think it's Tamaulipas. It's close to San Antonio.
I just think it's really interesting to see like how all these different countries and all their different governments handle the situation that we're in, because no one really knew what to do when it first started. I just think it's really cool to see how each country is handling the situation.
Yeah, I remember when this kind of first got big in America, people were taking their spring break and going to Mexico, and they had plans to go to these vacations and things like that. And I'm pretty sure after a while, Mexico was like, you guys gotta stop. We can't let more Americans over here.
Well, for the people that went to Mexico, I don't think they can come back inside to the U.S. because I know I have a few friends that went to Mexico like 3 weeks ago, and they're still there. Like, they can't come back.
And you were telling Spencer earlier that your mom's actually in Mexico right now, and she can't come back.
Yeah, she left 10 years ago because she got very sick. And since we were immigrants, she didn't have health insurance. So she I wasn't really sure what exactly she had, but I know that it was very serious. So she just decided to go to Mexico, but we didn't think she'd be gone for 10 years. We just thought it was going to be like 2 years or 3 years. But since we were undocumented, she had to wait at least a minimum of 10 years for her to come back legally, like with a tourist visa or something. Or, I mean, a visitor's visa. And she made 10 years last week, so she had her appointment May 2nd for her to, like, do her interview so that she can come back by the time, like, we graduate, like, in 3 weeks. But since everything is canceled now, yeah, we just have to wait.
First of all, it's so heartbreaking that your mom's been there for 10 years. Like, have you gotten the chance to visit her?
Well, no, because I can't go to. Well, I can go to Mexico. I just can't come back.
Okay, yeah, that's heartbreaking. And so not only is your graduation ceremony canceled, but your mom can't be here. That's like, that timing is crazy.
Yeah, Mom, this kind of sad because I had everything planned out. Like, yeah, I just had like a whole like plan to have my mom be here by like the beginning of May, like have her come to my graduation, then me taking off like 3 weeks off from work and just like spending time with her. But I guess now I just have to wait.
It was so nice having you guys. We got to hear from John Garcia. We got to hear from Edgar Aquino. And that's all we have. It was a pleasure hearing about how growing up with other ethnicities impacts American students. And it was also really eye-opening hearing about how the coronavirus has affected other countries. So thank you guys so much, and thanks for watching. This has been Know Your Neighbor.
Are we neighbors? That's crazy.